Where's James at?
Yeah, so James has had amazing progress. So he's done, a scrimmage yesterday, which went really, really well. Today's sort of an off rest day for him, and he's on a pretty good schedule here. So I think, in the next few games, probably not this first game, but I definitely imagine the next few that we'll be seeing him.
This reserve unit get the job, and Wiseman with a block. You see the helmet recover. Wiseman has a handle. Wiseman down the lane. Wiseman to the rim. Oh man!
The last time James Wiseman played in an NBA game was April 10th, 2021, where he played just 6 minutes against the Houston Rockets before tearing his meniscus. That was 456 days ago. Since then, Wiseman has been through rehab, hoping he would be able to recover in time to play Summer League of 2021. But boy, was he in for a surprise. Not only did Wiseman not get play in the Summer League of 2021, but his injury prevented him from even starting the season. His recovery has been one of the slowest for meniscus tears, as the recovery time for this injury ranges from 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. Staying on the safe side, Wiseman kept ramping up his recovery through training camp, and then the preseason started. Still, no sign of Wiseman. Fans were getting a bit antsy, wondering what happened to James Wiseman. He was being called a bust. Some were calling him the next Greg Oden, and others were saying the Warriors made a bad selection in choosing Wiseman with the second pick. Disgruntled fans were calling for Wiseman to be traded for Scooby Snacks, and the only thing left for them to do at that point was show up at Lacob's office with pitchforks and torches. The organization held its ground and said it was not involving Wiseman in any trades, and to add fuel to the torches, said they were not even going to sign a big man while Wiseman was still recovering. Madness! We all know how that turned out. But what happened with Wiseman during that time? Where is he today? When the season started, James Wiseman was set to come back in November ahead of Klay Thompson. As we were tracking both players simultaneously, it didn't seem abnormal that Wiseman would be back before Klay. As a matter of fact, it was the expectation, considering Klay had a much more serious injury that ended his season and the Warriors had gotten used to not having him. But Wiseman, a young 20-year-old whom had only torn his meniscus, should be ready to play soon. November came and went without an update about the big ticket, and Switch culture looked silly for saying Wiseman would be coming back. We got to December of 2021 and nearing the return of Klay, but still nothing regarding James. There were some rumblings regarding his return, but no one knew what was going on. He was supposed to be back a month ago, but all we kept hearing was how Wiseman was ramping up his workout. Although there was some news to be dropped, we didn't hear a peep. I'm pretty sure the front office didn't want to make matters worse, so they kept what was happening under wraps. Christmas came and went, and then 2022 came along with Wiseman still making sparse appearances in practice. Klay Thompson returned on the 9th of January, and just under a week later, on January 13th, a bombshell dropped. The front office timed this perfectly. Wiseman was set to return back in November, like I said he would be, but complications led to Wiseman having arthroscopic surgery in December. This is why Wiseman didn't return, and the front office waited till we had Klay Thompson return to say anything because we would be too distracted by the Splash Brother to care. It seemed to have worked. Somewhat. A lot of people were disappointed, but at the same time, considering it had been over a month since Wiseman had the surgery, he should be well on his way to recovery. The next month, early February, we started hearing more rumblings of Wiseman's return, but mostly more about him ramping up his workouts. Draymond was out at this point, and Kevon Looney was the only player in the front court able to hold it down. Kerr was going back and forth between Kuminga, Toscano Anderson, Porter Jr., and Bielitsa to find some combination of guys that would work in the front court. But it all came back to Looney, who was playing out of his mind. I think this is what kept the fans at bay when it came to Wiseman. Looney was so good, it literally made the fans somewhat patient on Wiseman's return. Nonetheless, a majority of us still wanted to see Wiseman play. The Warriors have been a small team since Bogut left, and James Wiseman was going to change all that. He was supposed to be the player that made the Warriors competitive at all 5 positions. As February rolled through with no Wiseman, a March return was put on the table. Wiseman would need at least 20 games in the regular season before he was ready for the playoffs. And if Wiseman wasn't able to play those 20 games, the Warriors are going to be SOL on rim protection and size when we face the best teams night after night. March came and the Warriors had some fairly bad showings, going even 1 for 8 in a stretch where it seemed the team was about to drop to the 6th seed and then lose in the first or second round. They just didn't seem to have it together. Then we heard the news. James Wiseman would make his debut in the G League as the last part of his rehab before re-entering the NBA. Although we had a slow start, Wiseman began tearing up the G League. He showed us some of the work he's been putting in, and he looked bigger and more muscular than before. While some of his initial flaws still stayed, it seemed more that he needed conditioning more than anything. That would come with time. His first G League game saw Wiseman drop 18 points and 6 rebounds with only 1 turnover. Fantastic showing offensively while only committing 2 fouls. For his first game back, not bad at all. The only goal in his first game back was to stay healthy on the floor, and he did. W for W. The second game saw Wiseman return with a fury, dropping 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 blocks to top it off. This performance had fans salivating. James Wiseman was getting ready to return and is making a cakewalk out of the G League. But the Mets staff wasn't quite sold. They wanted to see at least one more performance out of Wiseman before committing him to the league. This is where Wiseman's knee gave in. He had extra soreness and swelling in the knee, and he was shut down for the rest of the season. The franchise didn't seem to have a plan in place, but to give him some time to recover. Despite this, there were still fans begging to see Wiseman play in the finals against Boston, as they were worried that the Warriors would lose without having enough size. The Dubs managed to pull off the greatest stunt of the century as the Warriors ended up winning the championship with a 6'9" player in Kevon Looney at the 5. After the championships, however, came the draft, and with the Warriors selecting some promising new talent, all eyes were then trained on free agency. The entire veteran bench disappeared within 2 days. The franchise said they were not trading Wiseman, and they were still not signing another big man. The hope is that we'll have Wiseman and Looney for next year, but that is still a ways away. All eyes were now on Wiseman for Summer League 2022. Will Wiseman be playing this summer? We all watched the California Classic that didn't have Wiseman for the first 3 games. The 4th game, the Warriors played against the Knicks, and there was no showing for Wiseman there either. However, I'm here to tell you that today, Sunday, July 10th, Wiseman will be making his debut for the Golden State Warriors Summer League versus the San Antonio Spurs. He played 5-on-5 in multiple scrimmages and had been alternating his workload between heavy and light days. He says he feels good and he is ready to go. For those of you who don't know, the game will be played at 4:30 Pacific and 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you guys tune in and check out James Wiseman in his first Summer League game of his career. That's it. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Swish.
So she wanna roll, cause I'm hot. So she wanna go to my spot. Oh no, don't tell her no. Why not? She let me jump in Xbox, but then I jump out. Hopscotch. She said I'm on one. I said I'm on top. She said what you doing? I said I'm throwing a rock. She said you ballin', KD the shit cock. Word, I'm a player, the real player. I don't give a prayer, man. Fuck a naysayer. I block so hard, sweetie get served. Call me Lonzo Ball, bitches get swerved. Usually